It should be partly sunny today with a high near 53 degrees. Tonight, look for mostly cloudy skies and a low right around 37. Tomorrow, we see a 20% chance of showers. Skies should be mostly cloudy. It'll be breezy, and we'll see a high somewhere near 50 degrees. This is Healthy University, bringing health and vitality to you and your family. Brought to you by Scotland County Hospital in Memphis.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fear.
And now here's your host, Dr. Randy Tobler.
And good morning, all. I am Dr. Randy Tobler, along with Bud Wilson and producer Elisa Kiger, the Three Musketeers, and we are Healthy University.
And we're very happy that you joined us this morning on radio. You could have been tuned in to Martha Stewart Living, but you chose Healthy University instead.
If you do that, do you have to do insider trading too?
Serious. That's some serious radio right there.
No, but you have to bring us some fancy decorated cookies within the next hour.
That's right.
With sugar pearls and frosting.
Is my color combo acceptable today? I don't know.
Okay. Marginal. That's marginal.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, I dressed myself today. That's what you get. Hey, we're going to talk about the flu epidemic and how people deal with infections and the super sleuthing that goes on with infections and determining how they're all sorted out, because that's an interesting field with our director of laboratory services at the hospital, and he'll be joining us in a little bit. Yeah. And so if you have questions about that or just questions about lab stuff in general, he's the guy.
Little epidemiology thing going on there. We're starting to trace things, starting to look at the signs, patterns, impacts of the flu, and of course this is the beginning of the season. We just had the Scotland County Hospital just had the flu shots here just yesterday, and so we're getting ready for that. And there's
how did that go? Was it well attended?
It was steady all day, which is a good thing.
That means not super long lines. As a rule.
Well,
there were lines.
Well,
but not bad.
There's always, but you know how that is when you start out. There are a lot of people in the Midwest. Us people tend to collect early in the morning, get in the line and get it done. You know what I mean? But no, they said it was steady all day. So I'm glad that a lot of people came out. No, the headache and nausea you have this morning is not from the flu shot you got yesterday. Just so you know.
You know, it actually turns out that there may be some people over the next day or two, or even starting last evening, that might have a little reaction to the flu shot.
Yeah.
Where you get a little achy or a little headache, or maybe even a low-grade temp. But that's actually a good thing.
Yep, it shows something.
That means that your body recognized the flu as the shot as a foreign invader, a dead invader already, but still foreign.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you got this wonderful, if you're in the army behind the lines and you get presented with this uniformed enemy that isn't going to hurt you, you suddenly go take note. Oh, here's the weapons he has. Here's the uniform he's wearing.
Yeah.
I know what to look out for.
Yeah.
And so your body, in making that reaction, sometimes gets over exuberant and beats the drums a little too loudly, and that's why you may feel that way. But you don't have the flu.
You do not have the flu.
No, that's one of the myths.
Yep.
I didn't get my vaccine, but I guess that's coming up soon.
Yeah.
I think all of the hospital staff tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow and Thursday. So good.
Over at Memphis Medical Services, they've opened up more free appointments for Friday, October 21st for the free breast cancer screenings. So, ladies, if you have called Memphis Medical Services and were turned away, our apologies go out to you. And right after the show, you can call Memphis Medical Services at 660-465-2828 to make an appointment for your free breast cancer screening. And the receptionist will be happy to schedule you a free appointment. Yeah, it only takes a minute or so. That's 660-465-2828. 2828 at Memphis Medical Services. Also, folks over in Lancaster, if you're on the very same day, you can also get an appointment for a free screening over there, too, at Lancaster Medical Services. And let me give you that phone number. It's 660-457-3655. And finally, along that same note, just let me say that October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And you ladies, you can call now to schedule your annual mammography at Scotland County Hospital. All ladies that complete a mammography at Scotland County Hospital will receive a gift. And the American Cancer Society recommends all ladies age 40 and over should have a mammography annually.
All right.
And there we are.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, don't let your mammogram slip, gals.
Yeah.
And guys, don't let your gals' mammogram slip, because it's all too often, we hear of the case. I've had patients that went for several years and said, well, I don't have a family history. I didn't get my mammogram, and, I feel a lump. And, that's not good.
No.
We'd rather see the little lump before it becomes a feelable lump.
Yeah.
And then that means that we can deal with it more effectively.
And then, drum roll, Circleville, Ohio. And there you have a picture of it.
Circleville.
1,622 pounds of passionate pumpkin.
Holy cow.
On
Why
a
does it
cart.
look green?
Well, because it's taken from the internet, probably.
Oh, okay.
There was I think it
Maybe
may not be finished growing yet. It's
Wow.
Holy cow! Could that really be? I don't know.
1622.
Would it take a
Yeah.
chainsaw to carve that one?
It would
I
take.
think it
I
might.
think
more.
so. Maybe that backhoe I see sitting across the road
Yeah,
here.
I'm thinking it'd take more manliness than
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah,
to do
we're gonna
that.
we're gonna carve pumpkins at our house this weekend, and we're just using the common, kitchen knife.
Yeah.
And a scoop.
Absolutely, and I don't know what you'd do with that for sure.
Make a lot of
put
pie.
it in a parade and go around the square.
1622.
But yeah,
Hook a couple of axles onto it, and we
Yeah.
could ride it.
a pumpkin cart.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
Cinderella.
And then the golden slippers.
There you
Or the
go.
glass slippers. Yeah.
Uh,
That's amazing.
Along that same line, Halloween is Monday, October 31st. Folks, beware that evening. You know how quickly it comes up on us, and we see all the ghosts and the goblins on the porches and stuff, and then all of a sudden we realize when that little one runs out in front of the car, ooh, it's Halloween. So watch out on the streets for the kids, because they'll be out there, and as Marcia Davis says, common sense is not all that common. But don't forget that night, and just passing that along to you.
And the kids can come to us that night
We
for
are
a safe stop.
Yeah, at
Yes,
the hospital.
so come on out to the
Absolutely.
hospital
Yep,
that night.
Absolutely
Now,
can.
and pumpkin pulp is healthy for you. It's very good.
I know
I
it.
mean, high in fiber, and because it's orange. Remember, anything that has
Anything.
nice orange colors has things called carotenoids, because carrots,
Very
orange.
good.
Those are antioxidants. So if you eat orange things, it's good.
And if you put
Always-
marshmallows and brown
Hey,
sugar and butter on
there
it, how
you
good
go
is it?
again.
I love orange things with marshmallows,
Well,
brown
now,
sugar, and
wait a
butter.
minute.
It's
Hold on,
always-
Hold on.
It's
here.
still good.
it is good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So when does the Bible Grove Chef start her show here on KMEM? I like that.
Hey,
I like it.
you know-
I got an idea there for
Do
you.
ya?
The
Okay.
Bible Grove Chef.
Yeah.
Because she always has a way of modifying healthy things to make them totally, totally unhealthy, but always desirable.
and the poster child for it.
What is it? What is it? Reindeer poop? Is it?
Yes,
Oh, that's
I
a
just,
good one.
Yeah, I just made some this weekend.
But you might want to try taking your favorite gourd, whether it be a pumpkin or a squash or a whatever, and taking the pulp and putting some nuts in it.
Oh.
My wife does that as a nice little way to jazz up
Wow.
things, and put in some nuts, whether it be pumpkin seeds or
I'm gonna
whether
try
it be, you take your choice of nuts, including pecans or pecans.
Oh, yeah.
And you had some information about pecans, didn't you, Bud? From
Yeah,
we do. Our auxiliary
our
is selling
auxiliary's got 'em.
pecans this
That's what
year.
you call a
Almost forgot
segue in
that.
And
radio.
very
That's what you call-
good.
thank
We
you.
do. And our auxiliary.
I lost my
Ali-
segue.
I threw the Segway to him, and he dropped it
And
like a
he
1,622 pound
He drowned
pumpkin.
it.
There
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's
No,
okay. I tried.
Scotland County Care Center, Scotland County Hospital Ladies Auxiliary has pecans or pecans.
Is it
for
pecan or
sale.
pecan?
Is it a vase
Is
or a
it,
vase?
is it Lancaster or Lancaster?
You can purchase your pecans at Scotland County Care Center, the business office there, or any of the banks here in town.
Are these shelled or unshelled?
They are shelled,
They're
and
shelled.
they make the best pecan pies for the pie supper this weekend.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. They make great
so it's
pecan pies.
$9 per 1 pound bag, and just in time for, dare I say it, the holidays.
And they are healthy. They have a lot of healthy fatty acids in them.
And then you mix that with the sugar, the marshmallows,
And the marshmallows, and it's great.
and the orange squash. You have got a beautiful side dish for your
If it
turkey.
makes you feel better, Miss
It-
Kiger,
you
that's
bet.
good.
Well, because of the season, we got some scary food myths that I was looking at.
Scary food myths.
Yeah.
What would those be?
First, fat will make you fat. What do you think about that one?
Well, when combined with carbs, yes. But by itself, no.
By
and
itself,
butter and
no.
brown sugar and marshmallows.
Oh, no. There it is. I knew it would be in there.
If you just
somewhere.
eat fat and protein, you'll get thin and skinny.
Yeah. Scary food myth number 2,
Mm-hmm.
bread will make you fat.
I don't think that's a myth.
But
Yeah.
if you eat the
Yeah.
right kind of bread,
Yeah.
it takes longer for it to digest, right?
To a degree.
To a degree.
Yeah.
So it could actually be said that if you use no bread except that kind of bread and just a little once in a while, it actually might make you
Yeah. Well,
help you to lose.
Well, there's better and not so better carbs.
Yeah.
But in general, as a general strategy of eating,
Mm-hmm.
grain carbs are not so good for us.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're going to be having a guest, we hope, on the radio in the next few weeks, because when I was on vacation last week in Hawaii.
No, you were on assignment.
Middle
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we were on vacation in Hawaii. And I was looking at all of these slender, tan, native Hawaiian
Yeah.
folks, wishing desperately I could be one of them. But we were reading one of the books that we were reading, Helene was reading, it was about paleo diet, the Paleolithic diet, the caveman type thing.
Yeah.
This guy thinks carbs are poisons, any
Really?
carbs. And we ought to have him on, because while he may be a little extreme, he's got a lot of science. He's a former molecular biologist. And he's
Cool.
smart. And I was hoping he was just like a guy that used to be a cartoonist or something.
Not so much.
Lots of credibility
Real,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting talk. It's an interesting discussion that we'll have. So, yeah, I mean, there's breads and there's breads, but it's sort of the lesser of two evils.
So he
That's-
believes the philosophy: if you take a couple of Casey's donuts and just tape them to your rear end, it's really what's going to happen in the
and,
long run.
And more than that, it's not just the way we look; it's the way the arteries look and the way bad things
Ew.
happen.
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't want-
So you're saying if you look kind of plump and sassy on the outside, you're probably plump and sassy
Yeah,
on the
that's
inside.
right, and it's that inside
Hey.
plump and sassiness that's not so good for us. Yeah, yeah,
Scary food myth number 3, snacking will make you fat.
that's a myth. Depending on what you're snacking on.
Well, I guess you're right. It depends on what you're doing. But here comes the system of 3, 4, 5 times a day eating something,
Right.
but not, 2 heavy meals a day, which will be all wrong.
Yeah,
The way I eat is nothing for breakfast and a large
Yeah.
dinner, which is stupid. It's not the way you're supposed to eat. So that might be a myth too, right?
well, unless your snacks are marshmallows and s'mores.
And yeah,
Brown sugar, butter, and
Brown
marshmallows.
sugar.
If you're having a little beef jerky and a couple, 2 or 3 nuts, that's okay for a snack. But if it's the other stuff, it's not. So
Number 4
Sorry,
scary
Elisa.
food myth:
Yeah.
eggs are cholesterol bombs.
no, eggs are healthy bombs. They're
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. And this one, the last one, goes along with it. Scary food myth number 5: red meat will give you a heart attack.
Hey, you're stepping on my beef cattle toes.
Well, we've already talked about that. The studies on red meat are usually lump in things like the processed meats.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, because we know here in God's country, we don't eat those. We eat good red meats, right?
You bet.
All right.
Yeah, it's the biscuits and
Red,
gravy. And
yeah,
that
we eat
goes
red meats
along
with our
it.
with our
It's
eggs, and we are healthy, right?
Not absolutely right. And I got to tell you, I should mention this. Folks, focus on October 31st.
Yeah.
Because that's the end of our photo contest. That's the deadline. And
You bet. We need to get some more entries, and we have some beautiful entries so far. People are really coming in multiple times a day and
saw
bringing.
some really neat
That's right.
pictures.
So if you want more
Really,
information,
really
check out
neat
Buddy's
stuff.
website, scotlandcountyhospital.com. He's got the
Wow.
information on there.
Well, I've got this great picture of Helene and I swimming at the bottom of a secret falls that we kayaked to in the
yeah.
pool. It was sort of like, well, she was sort of like Brooke Shields in the Blue Lagoon.
And you were sort of
I was sort of like
let's
the
get
hippo in the Blue
Okay,
Lagoon.
all right.
We'll be right back.
aim to it. A little trick-or-treat music for you.
Wanna tell you all the things my heart's been a dying to be saying. Just like a ghost, you've been haunting my dreams, so I propose on Halloween. Love was kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Spooky, spooky, oh, alright. I said spooky, oh, yeah, yeah. I said spooky, yeah, yeah.
Have you got a craving for ice cream like I do? Take that craving to Scotland County Pharmacy in Memphis. They've got a walk-up window exclusively for serving you some of the best ice cream anywhere. Or come in for the old-time soda fountain and pick up your prescriptions inside or their drive-through window. They're offering free delivery to Memphis and Edina with free mailing service also, and $4 and $10 generic plans. Scotland County Pharmacy is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5:30, Saturdays from 9 to 1. Located next to Jay's Foods and the Daisy Patch in Memphis, Missouri.
Many Missourians are living without insurance due to health conditions, a change in health, a new diagnosis, or a chronic illness.
The Missouri Health Insurance Pool not only guarantees coverage, but effective August 1st, the federal pool is offering significantly lower rates.
The federal pool has no waiting period and your pre-existing conditions are covered. If you battle diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, you can apply.
For more information, visit mhip.org or call 800-821-2231.
Welcome to the Regulation Rodeo, where Missourians try and hang on to their jobs.
The last thing we need is EPA regulation that would slam Missouri families and businesses with higher energy costs, bucking even more of us from good-paying jobs. The U.S. House of Representatives has done its part. Now it's time for President Obama to tell his EPA to hold their horses. Visit energyformissouri.jobs.org to learn what you can do to protect your job. Paid for by Energy for Missouri Jobs.
I was glad to have a good job, but my son used to tell me every morning, "Dad, please don't go." I worried all day about what was going on at home. It bothered me so much I couldn't concentrate. My work began to suffer. I knew my wife liked a drink or two every evening. My daughter complained that her mom drank wine from a coffee mug when she drove her friends to school events. But I ignored all the signs and didn't offer my children any support. My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon family groups to see if I could figure out what was going on at home. I can't tell you how much it meant to hear other people talk about what was happening in their situations. What I heard at Al-Anon family group meetings really opened my eyes. If someone's drinking bothers you, you might find help at an Al-Anon family group meeting right here in our community. I found support there. You can too. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or visit alanonfamilygroups.org.
If there's anything you need, all you have to do is say, don't you satisfy everything in me? We shouldn't waste a single day. So don't stop before then, it's destiny calling, a power I just can't deny. It's never changing, can't you hear me? I'm saying I want you for the rest of my life.
I like that music. It gets me going. Isn't that nice?
It's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah. And it won't give you an arrhythmia. That's Bud. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler, along with Elisa and our special guest, Mr. Tim Grant. Man, you sound like a movie star name, you know? Tim Grant, like Hugh's brother or something. You're not Hugh's brother, are you?
No.
And Tim is the illustrious, the Grand Poobah. That I said that just for Dave Bowden. The grand poobah of our lab, actually, the lab director at Scotland County Hospital, and a great one he is. You're a smart guy, and I really appreciate all of the information you give to me as a doc at the hospital and all the others, because we get these little blasts like from Tim. Because are you a voracious reader or what? You must be.
We need to be. You have to keep on top. Yeah. I mean, the lab field, the medical field, as you know, is just a constantly moving target.
Not only the technology, but how the laboratory intersects with the clinical application of those labs. And that's where you really are strong. I mean, it's very, very good. Mm-hmm. So he runs a tight ship with a great bunch of people.
Been here about a year, Tim?
Been about a year.
Yeah, a little over a year.
Cool.
And you have your bachelor's degree, and then you got further education. MBA?
Right, correct, MBA.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Got any hot stock tips? No, I'm just kidding. And then, and then we got, and then of course, a medical technologist.
Right? Yes.
And now supervisor of the lab. And you've been in the lab business for how long?
Do I have to say?
Yeah, come on now.
30 plus.
Oh,
wow.
My.
What'd you start when you were 10? Like
I was in
Doogie Howser over here. What are you too young to be in the lab biz for 30 years?
50 plus now, so we're getting there.
Really?
Yeah.
Very young. You don't, Lisa, he doesn't look like he's 50 plus. No? What's the secret?
Good family, good life.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, the lab encompasses, of course, a lot of things. I mean, you do the chemistry stuff from the blood. You do microbiology, right?
Correct.
You look through the microscope at various body fluids looking for things. What else am I leaving out here? Oh, blood banking, right?
Blood banking. Mm-hmm.
What other things have I left out?
Serology. We actually assist with different biopsies sometimes.
Yeah, that's right, and sort of transporting and facilitating the biopsy specimens and getting those to the right place. But we wanted to focus today, since it is the flu season soon to be upon us, and of course flu vaccines are in everyone's mind, about a movie that's come out and has swept the country by storm. And it illustrates the way an infection may someday sweep the country by storm, called Contagion. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us want to think that, that's just Hollywood, not going to really happen. But you, as a person who studies infections and keeps your eye on, for instance, in our own hospital, what types of bacteria are we seeing? Mm-hmm. What are they susceptible to? And what viruses, with the flu season on us. And so you are really you're all over that, right?
Correct. Yeah. Like I said, it's a moving ball. There's always a new infection or a new organism being identified. And with even the old bugs, has made the news recently, they come up with new resistance to new bacteria, the super bugs. So we always have to be alert for those.
Yeah. I read over last week, I was reading that they had, it was a slow news cycle. The scientists have actually come up and looked at, I think it was the teeth, or some kind of DNA they pulled out of people who succumbed to the plague.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And they found that indeed it was the plague.
Correct.
Right? And they found that the DNA from that particular bacteria, which is called Yersinia pestis.
Yes.
Is that correct, right?
That is correct.
Resembles very closely the current bugs that I guess we have in storage somewhere, right?
Well, not only in storage, but in the southwest U.S., pestis is a continuing threat. In fact, one of the first things you do when you go to work in the southwest is you get introduced to the plague protocol, the SOP for plague, because they still have outbreaks in the southwest.
Yeah. But is there a vaccine for the plague?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Wow. Yeah, so like animal trappers and so forth, I mean, they definitely are on the front lines of that. Yeah, it's a big deal. But is Contagion, why don't you briefly outline, I haven't had a chance to see the movie, without giving it all away. I mean,
Well, Contagion, ties directly into the flu season because Contagion was a flu. Mm-hmm. They don't want to give the movie away, but there was, for those that haven't seen it, especially you, Doctor. But there was, a crossing between species flus that jumped to the humans, which is what happens almost yearly. Yeah. And we see that time and time again. But this was a special strain, and they didn't know what it was at first. And it got to the U.S., and Canada and Europe, and then just spread like wildfire. The unusual thing about the Contagion was, and it's kind of dramatic, is that death was like rapid. Within hours after contracting this, you would die, and that was Hollywood. I mean, as we know, flu develops, the complications from flu are usually pneumonias and debilitated person, and then they succumb to that. But it's not an overnight process usually.
Right, and the flu is a pneumonia. I mean, it's a respiratory infection. It's just how bad does it get, and in some people they do succumb. And we think about in the past decade, we've had at least 2 or 3 scares. I remember Asians walking around, everyone wearing a mask on the streets of Tokyo, SARS, right? And then, of course, there is this sort of a cycle that flu viruses go through. It involves pigs a lot,
usually.
Right? Yeah,
pigs and chickens. Yeah, they're the big culprits. So you have the pig contagion, and then you have the bird contagion, and then the mixes thereof.
Yeah.
But,
and then they mix and they get together and they sort of modify and mutate based on it's like a test tube for mutation, isn't it? The animal. Yeah.
Right, and these come out of usually what's called the China Crescent, China, Indonesia, and then they flow across Asia, into Europe and Africa, and then into us, into the rest of the world, North and South America, Central America, and the tracking of that is what's really interesting, because by doing that, we can kind of monitor and prepare ourselves for what's out there. The World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, all these organizations are epically involved in keeping track of these diseases so contagion doesn't sneak up on us. A contagion-type bug that's serious that we don't have any defense for.
And that's how they determined, by looking at what was happening in Asia last season, in their season, then they predict what we're going to need in our vaccine. So our vaccine usually has three viruses?
Anywhere from 2 to 5. I mean, it just depends on what they genetically feel is going to be important. Yeah. There's usually one overwhelming, like we're currently on, what we were calling the swine flu or the H1N1 flu is still the up and coming beast that we're afraid of.
Right.
And unlike, and again, like Contagion, the movie, it showed just masses of people dying, and people were like, oh, that can't be, But even in just the U.S., every year, 36,000 people on average die from the flu.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of folks.
And 250,000 or more are hospitalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're talking, a very serious, I mean, we think of the flu as something that doesn't really happen, it happens here and there. It doesn't happen a lot. But it's a very serious disease because, the children, young children, older adults are particularly susceptible to it.
And with last year's H1N1, or 2 years ago, I guess, pregnant women.
Yes.
Right.
And so you were seeing, and that's what's so weird about these flu epidemics. You just can't always predict, as good as they are at it. You don't know the little nuances of who's going to be affected most. Is it going to be the same? Once in a while, they've really missed because mutations occurred, and
sure.
And so the right immunity wasn't there. And you don't really get cross immunity from year to year from one type A vaccine to the other type A vaccine.
So that's the real problem with the flu vaccine and keeping everyone inoculated.
Yeah.
Because the strain mix does change. The genetics of the viruses change, and they're adapting the vaccine to that. And also the immunity for the flu shot, if you get it, is 4 to 6 months. That's why we try to give it, October-ish, and then last through our flu season here in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember, was it a year or 2 or 3 ago that they actually were giving boosters?
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
And that's still a conversation. The recommendations for flu shots this year have changed from 6 months to the very elderly. And then they're even looking at giving, and then there's a group of children they actually give 2 flu shots to. And now they're actually looking at giving seniors 2 flu shots.
Right, yeah.
So,
spaced apart, right?
Spaced apart,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Because those are, of course, the susceptible, folks in terms of generally. Those are the folks that are going to be most at risk.
Right. And
from
succumbing. And the least responsive.
Yeah, right. And the least responsive as far as building an immune response.
Correct.
Let's talk about some myth busting when we come back.
Sure.
About the flu vaccine in general. And we can talk also a little bit more about how you guys help sort things out and how you facilitate that, because sometimes you need to send things to other labs, and we can talk about that as well.
Okay.
We're talking with Tim Grant. He's the lab supervisor at Scotland County Memorial Hospital. And the numbers for Tim.
1-800-748-7875 and 660-465-7225.
So the swine flu is still the predominant one, huh?
Right. The H1N1 is the vaccine.
The reservoir pigs.
Reservoir, well, it's transmuted now, so it's humans.
Yeah. Well, glad we don't have any of those around here. We'll be right back.
That old pot of gold ain't so easy to find. But if you'll stand by me, girl, I'll keep peace of mind.
Have you got a craving for ice cream like I do? Take that craving to Scotland County Pharmacy in Memphis. They've got a walk-up window exclusively for serving you some of the best ice cream anywhere. Or come in for the old-time soda fountain and pick up your prescriptions inside or their drive-through window. They're offering free delivery to Memphis and Edina with free mailing service also, and $4 and $10 generic plans. Scotland County Pharmacy is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5:30, Saturdays from 9 to 1. Located next to Jay's Foods and the Daisy Patch in Memphis, Missouri.
You're stranded by the side of the road. It's raining, 1 in the morning, and your car has a flat tire. Too bad your motor club membership expired years ago. Who can you call for help? Allstate wants everyone to be protected on the road. So before this happens to you, give them a call. Because right now, Allstate is giving every driver in America a free lifetime membership in Good Hands Roadside Assistance just for calling. You don't even have to be an Allstate customer. You'll get 24/7 access and low flat rates on everything from tows to tire changes. So down the road, when you need help, you'll know you're in good hands.
Call a local agent or 888-ALL-STATE today and get a lifetime membership in Good Hands Roadside Assistance absolutely free. You can't afford not to call. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Shop less, get more. Make one call to an Allstate agent.
Real
Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday. Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, bubble ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, sparkles next Sunday. All the healthy children eat well and move a lot. And move a lot. And move a lot. Eat well and move a lot.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day.
Skip a rope Saturday, freeze tag Friday, tap dance Thursday. Whole grains Wednesday, try a veggie Tuesday. Let's move Monday, split the sweet Sunday.
Eat well and move a lot. Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov. A message from USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Sidewalk, oh, Sunday morning, don't you know? Lots of body just oozing light, and someone sneaking around the corner. Could that be our boy, Mac the Knight? From a tugboat down by the river, don't you know? There's a cement bag just dropping on down. That cement's there, it's there for the way, dear. If I will get you 10.
Didn't know that Bud could sing so well, did you? Hey, that's nice, Bud.
Thanks.
Good music. I like that.
Tim, I got a question to ask you.
That's Tim Grant over there joining us in studio here on Healthy You.
I've always heard the story about flu shots and what they contain, and it's theoretically what I heard was it was the past two strains of the season before or a combination of some kind like that as a best guess shot at what direction they might go in for a vaccine for that coming year. Is that
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
And we made a little joke about there being some hog farms around here, and in fact there can be there's an interaction where the viruses live in pigs or chickens, and then they come out and they can zap us. And I think that emphasizes the point that if you are around animals, and that's the nature of our agriculture up here, we're around animals.
Yeah.
Boy, what better reason and motivation to get a flu vaccine, right? Because you were right there in potentially the heart of the battle.
Correct. You mean you could either transmit the virus to your livestock, or livestock,
which could be economically devastating.
Yes. Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Which could also be devastating if you're a single person operating your livestock.
Yeah. So, take that under advisement. We're talking about the flu vaccine, the flu epidemics in general, and the Epidemic Intelligence Service. What does that mean? That sounds like, is this like a CSI, Memphis, or what?
Well, the EIS, or Epidemic Intelligence Service, is sort of the CIA, but what it really does is it trains people to be epidemiologists in the public sense. So there's a core of people that are interested in epidemiology, which is merely the study of the transmission of a disease process. It might not even be infectious. It might be something like obesity.
Sure.
Right?
Or breast cancer, or whatever. You just find out what common things
Right.
lead to groups of people getting a problem. Okay.
Correct. So what these people do is when they're postgraduate, they get out of school, they go to work for the CDC, and it's a type of intern or externship plan, if you would, and they go around the country and the world, actually, working with CDC and the World Health Organization, studying, pools of people that have specific problems. Of course, it's the infectious diseases that always make the headlines.
Right. And make the movies.
Right.
And so it's really like a super sleuth, like an FBI type of a thing. I mean, it's really an investigative process.
It really is. And it's a lot of hard, tedious work identifying, especially if you're looking at an epidemiology for an infectious disease, you're always trying to find where case zero was, where that first came from. And some things like that are in the news occasionally, we hear about like Ebola.
Yeah.
Hemorrhagic diseases from Africa. We never know where case zero is sometimes. Sometimes it just flushes out of the jungles, and there's that we still don't know the exact source for Ebola.
Those are the most frightening things to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get a virus that you catch it, and within hours you're bleeding out of every orifice.
I mean, it's true. Yeah. It's entertaining, but
it's
it
frightening.
Really is.
It truly is.
And I'm thankful there are investigators like the Epidemic Intelligence Service and the CDC and the WHO. These people put themselves in harm's way.
Yes, they do.
I mean, you have to go out there and talk to the people with diseases or go to the source. And I'm thinking of the recent hysteria over listeria.
Yes.
It's not really hysteria because it's true. It's a problem. And you think about, what are these guys out there like, they're going to the lettuce fields themselves?
Right. These same people are out there. They're in the lettuce fields. They're talking to the migrant workers.
Yeah.
They're talking to the families of people who have been sick.
Yeah.
They're trying to nail it down to the best they can. Then they collect the samples, send them back to the central labs, and the central labs, study the genes of the bug, make sure they're all the same. That's how they can track down that, yes, it was this particular field in Colorado where this came from.
No. And then they have to go beyond that. Well, this field in Colorado may be sending to 4 different distributors across the country, and those distributors to 150,000 different markets. Oh, and now we got to get it down to a barcode. But not only that, the barcode that was shipped between X and Y. And they can get it to that specificity.
But they're still doing it in reverse, so that you're going to ground zero every time
right.
we're
You're
trying
always,
to get there.
Yeah, you're trying to get to ground zero, and then you work your way back out again.
So let's just do a hypothetical here. What if suddenly you started getting a bunch of tubes of blood from the doctors at the hospital and our outlying clinics saying, we've got this mysterious illness that seems to result in people, turning purple and getting chills and a fever of 102. And we're not sure what's going on. What would you do with that information? Where do you go with that?
Right. Well, that process then goes to our area epidemiologist, who's a trained person in epidemiology. We send the information to her in this case. She examines it, or even our local health department, and then go through our local epidemiologist. And then if they think,
but you would first of all, you'd be telling the doctors to be getting some tubes of blood off of those patients that you'd be freezing or spinning down and saving the serum, right? Or, I mean,
well, it would depend. I mean, we locate that there was a problem,
right?
All right.
Anecdotally, you're noticing like, hey, there's something going on here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then we would contact the epidemiologist, see what's going on in the world. Maybe they already know about it. All right. If not, then we would collect specimens. Probably send them to state. State would go like, well, we think it's A.
Okay.
And then the state was forwarded on to the CDC, and then the CDC would go, yes, it's A. They would probably then notify the World Health Organization, and they'd say, is this a problem anywhere else?
Right.
And then, start doing the back tracing to whatever it was.
And what gets interesting to me from a clinician standpoint, and even from a layperson standpoint, if you think about, last year, what was the infection where first it was the tomatoes, then it was the peppers, then it was they're trying to keep up with information that's incomplete and sometimes inaccurate.
Right.
And maybe Elisa can weigh in on this, because it becomes a communications nightmare. If you're one of these people at the EIS or at the CDC and you think you're sort of on the right track, and you have an obligation to try to let people know, to try to prevent more cases.
Correct.
But when you do that, there's a risk with getting that info out there, right?
Right. I mean, those of us that are old enough to remember the Tylenol scare back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? We had a tragic shortcoming of Tylenol products in the world because all the Tylenol got pulled because of someone tainting the product.
Yes.
And that was just like a case somewhere.
Right. If you have a question about epidemics and infections and how they spread and who helps sort out why they're spreading, give us a buzz.
Yeah.
The numbers here at the station are 465-7225.
And 1-800-748-7875.
That's Bud Wilson, and over next to him, across from me, is Tim Grant, joining us in studio, taking a break from his very yeoman duties as lab director at Scotland County Hospital.
So surveillance is really an interesting thing because you have it in every profession, but for epidemiology, it's a little bit different. I mean, a meteorologist, the hair starts to stand up on the back of his neck when he sees two fronts that start to, and so Tim in the lab right here in Memphis, the alarm goes off that he has in his mind when certain things start to transpire.
Yeah, and we should mention, too, that one big part of your gig and those that work with you in the lab is to help us prevent the spread of local infections and identify if we get, this or that, we're noticing like, people are coming in and we're getting little, red spots over incisions when we're doing, what's going on here? Is there an infectious risk in the hospitals or anything like that? And boy, you're able to squelch those out rapidly because you have to sort out where the source is, what's going on, right?
Right. Inside the hospital, one of the hats I wear is infection control.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the infections that are occurring, from the patients that, because we're treating sick people, so we have sick people coming to the hospital, so there's all kinds of infections and problems that are happening.
And right down the hall is a person who is otherwise well but has a broken leg or something, right?
Right.
Our visitors, our staff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or worse yet, maybe perhaps, a patient that has a weakened immune system from a drug or medication they're taking.
Right.
So we have to be extremely vigilant for those people, and for our new surgery cases, we don't want to introduce anything to them.
Right. And I know that we're proud of the fact that we have a good record there.
Wait a minute, hold it. You mean this isn't just walking up and down the hall in a white coat?
No.
Oh, man.
And I know you were doing an interesting experiment. I don't know, was it 2 or 3 months ago? You came up and I was writing notes on the nursing floor and just, I'd round it and you said, here, put your fingers on this plate. I'm going, what's this about? Are we feeling our Jell-O? And no, we weren't feeling, because the little plates look like Jell-O. I mean, they look like red Jell-O.
Right.
What was that all about?
That was just to show people that their hands are colonized with bacteria and the importance of hand washing for everyone.
Yeah.
Especially in flu season.
Yeah.
We can't overemphasize that enough.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, Tim, because that's a really important point. And it seems like we start to focus a little bit more on that hand washing thing in the flu season and flu shots come along. But it should be all the time. But the more you can get us to concentrate on that, the better off everybody is.
You can't wash your hands enough. Just make sure you wash them well and then dry them.
What about my baby soft skin?
It'll be fine.
Oh, thank you. All right. Hey, we're going to wrap it up here in just a minute with our special guest, Tim Grant. If you have a question about lab stuff in general, infections, epidemiology, give us a buzz. And we'll be back on Healthy You. It's 10 till the hour.
Have you got a craving for ice cream like I do? Take that craving to Scotland County Pharmacy in Memphis. They've got a walk-up window exclusively for serving you some of the best ice cream anywhere. Or come in for the old-time soda fountain and pick up your prescriptions inside or their drive-through window. They're offering free delivery to Memphis and Edina with free mailing service also, and $4 and $10 generic plans. Scotland County Pharmacy is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5:30, Saturdays from 9 to 1. Located next to Jay's Foods and the Daisy Patch in Memphis, Missouri.
Is your lawnmower having problems? Call Coatesville Custom Mowers Sales and Service in Coatesville, Missouri. They specialize in rebuilding and small engine repair. Dale has a lot of parts in stock, so there's no waiting on parts. From air filters to zip ties, any parts available. Pickup and delivery in a 50-mile radius is only $20. Customer service satisfaction is his #1 priority. So give Coatesville Custom Mowers a call, 660-553-4025.
Let's all stay very zen. Chase Freedom is giving away $1 million in the $1 million Get Your Cash Back sweepstakes. Deep breath. Glide to your computer, like the Chase Freedom Facebook page, and enter for your chance to win. Ooh, I am bad at zenning. Get your cash back in the Chase Freedom $1 million Get Your Cash Back sweepstakes.
No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends 10/23/11. Void where prohibited. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. For complete official rules and how to enter, go to facebook.com/ChaseFreedomCashback. Facebook not associated with this promotion.
The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. It's quick.
No waiting. I take my son's temperature in just a few seconds.
Easy.
I just scan her forehead and that's it. The baby doesn't even notice. So you don't feel bad. Just checking.
Accurate.
I work in a pediatric clinic and use it all the time. We've tested it against other methods and it's accurate every time.
And best of all, affordable.
Great value. I figured I'd be spending an arm and a leg. Nope, can't beat the price.
The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. Pick one up for the family at Costco and other fine retailers.
That's what people should say when they get an option to take the flu shot.
Yes.
I do.
You know, the one thing I can say about the flu shot, you know, in all seriousness is for everyone to please, you know, if at all possible, get your flu shot, you know, get a clinic, go to your doctor, do something.
Yeah.
Because the life you save might be someone you know.
Yeah. That's really true. And, you know, we often think, a lot of folks say, well, I don't know, I'm not in a risk group, I'm not young, I'm not old, I'm middle-aged, I'm, 30, I'm healthy, don't even have kids, and I'm not going to, there's no problem here. Well, I bet you got nieces or nephews. I bet you're going to be at a holiday party with other people. I bet you're going to be visiting someone in the hospital. You know what I mean? It's, and the myth busting just goes on and on and on. It's not going to give you the flu.
No, the flu shot will not give you the flu. You know, you might have a local reaction to it, but that's not going to be severe. You might even develop, a small flu-like symptom, a cold symptom. But
that means it worked.
That means it worked. That means that your body is reacting in a big way to the dose it received. There's all this fear out there that I'm not going to get the flu shot because I'll get the flu. the chances of getting the flu from the flu shot are worse than zero. They're 0 to none.
Right. and there is, I know, controversy over if you've had the flu shot before and you've had a reaction where you feel flu-like, whether you should take Tylenol or not. It may blunt the immune response a little bit. I think if you've had a super good response, meaning you got a little achy or you had a little fever, I'd take the Tylenol because that, you're a good responder then.
Right.
I mean, what do you think, Tim? That's what I recommend.
That would be a medical opinion.
I'd rather have you get the flu shot and take your Tylenol than not get the flu shot at all.
I could agree with that.
Let's put it that way.
Absolutely, I could agree with that.
Yeah, that's just the pragmatic approach. You wanted to. That's Tim Grant, by the way. He's done a fabulous job on the radio today, and we hope you'll come back and visit us from time to time, Tim, who not only runs the lab but keeps us informed between the nexus of what he does in the lab and what we as clinicians need to do to try to help keep you healthy and get you better and avoid illness. And we've been talking about flus and epidemics and contagion and all these Andromeda strain, all these things that just make us shiver. But you did want to direct us to a website that people should check out.
Correct. If anyone has any further information need or just curious in general, they can go to the CDC website, and it's really easy. It's www.cdc.gov/flu, FLU, and it brings up the CDC's webpage, and anyone can read. There's material in there for professionals. There's materials in there for the citizens. This is your real tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
This is your money paying for this service. Go out there and look at it. Take advantage of it.
If you go to ScotlandCountyHospital.com and go to the links page, you can click right on CDC. Open it up.
And I guess finally we should say, just to put a bow on the discussion about infectious control in the hospital, a plea for your forgiveness and understanding and patience when the flu season does hit us this year. We don't know when it'll happen. We know it's not a matter of if, it's when. And ultimately you will see the signs around there. Please don't visit unless, this and that. There's usually restrictions.
Right.
And check in at the nurse's station if you have a cough or this or that. So be patient with us. Those are done for a very, very good reason.
Yeah, and along with that is what we hit on just before the break is hand washing. If you come to the hospital either as a guest or as a patient, remember you're coming into a hospital where there's sick people. We encourage you. You can't wash your hands enough. There's actually hand sanitizer stations throughout the hospital. We encourage you to use those. If you have any questions about hand washing or the hand sanitizers, ask to see Tim in the lab or the nurse. They'll be glad to help you out with that problem.
And I guess the other component of trying to not be a vector for spread of whatever little virus you may have, whether it's the flu or it's the cold or whatever, is to cough into your sleeve. I mean, I think or sneeze into your sleeve. A lot of people still, I catch them now and then. I'd catch myself now and then taking, because my grandma always taught me, right under the hand.
Cover your mouth.
Cover your mouth. No, into your sleeve, into your, into your arm. And so it's important, into the elbow area there.
Elisa, we got a symposium coming up that's we want to get in there.
Indeed. Thursday, speaking of epidemics, diabetes and obesity.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday, we want to invite anybody in any of the listening area in the community to come out to the Scotland County Fitness Center. That's this Thursday, October 20th, from 12 to 3 p.m. It's free and open to the public. We have a speaker who is an A1C champion. She has got her arms around diabetes, and she's going to speak at 12 o'clock, and then we have Dr. Helene Tobler coming in to talk to us about food, and we have the hospital's therapy services going to show us how to do some armchair exercises. That's this Thursday. Do RSVP with Melissa Ham at the hospital.
Free meal.
Free meal, 465-8511, but we need to know how many are coming.
All right, give us a buzz, and as always, thank you for joining us. Tim, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.
All righty, and gang, thank you once again. Make sure you get your flu shot. And above all, be well and share it with someone you love this week. We'll see you next time on Healthy You.
Evil and the good without hiding. You must help me if you can. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what is wrong. Was I unwise to leave them open for so long?
You've been listening to Healthy You. Learn more about Scotland County Hospital's services and facilities at www.scotlandcountyhospital.com or call 660-465-8511.
I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. People go just where they will. I never noticed them until I got this feeling that it's later than it seems. Doctor, my eyes tell me what you...
Serving Unionville, Lancaster, Memphis, and Cahokia, this is 100.5 KMEM FM, Memphis, Missouri. Our time is 11 a.m. We have what you want to hear. Don't go away.